Testing, 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 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me in the back? Gentleman with the red shirt on, right at almost the back. Can you hear me, sir? If so, wave. Thank you. Thank you for being part of our sound check today. Very important job. So, the city of Parksville recognizes the people of the Coast Salish nations and their traditional territory upon which we gather with gratitude. I'd like to call the public hearing for Monday, November 18th, 2024 to order. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to Section 464 of the Local Government Act to consider the proposed Plan Parksville Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 1492.8, and Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 2000.151. At this public hearing, any person present who believes that his or her interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaws shall be given an opportunity to be heard on the matters contained in the proposed bylaws. However, it is important that all who speak at this public hearing restrict their remarks to matters contained in the bylaws. And it is my responsibility as chair of this hearing to ensure that all remarks are so restricted. Those of you who wish to speak concerning these proposed bylaws should, at the appropriate time, commence your address to council and public hearing by clearly stating your name and address for the record. Then you may give us the benefit of your views concerning the proposed bylaws. It should be noted, this public hearing is being recorded and web streamed live, and the recording will be posted to the website. The main function of council members today is to listen to the views of the public. It is not a function of council in this public hearing to answer questions or debate the merits of the proposed bylaws with individual citizens. The public is also expected not to ask questions of staff. Everyone who deems their interest in property to be affected shall be given the opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. If you wish to provide a written submission to be included in the record of the public hearing, you must hand in that submission to the corporate officer prior to the close of this part of the public hearing dealing with the bylaw you are speaking to. Once that part of the public hearing has been adjourned, council is not able to receive any information from the public on that matter. The corporate officer is off to my right, your left, against the wall there. And if you have any submissions, please drop off with Ms. Weeks on the way out after you've made your presentation to the microphone. During a public hearing, sometimes people will become enthusiastic or emotional. So regardless of whether you favor or oppose any particular application or argument, please refrain from applause or other expressions of emotion. Restraint enables others whose views may or may not coincide with your own to exercise their right to express their views, and enables all views expressed to be heard in a setting that is impartial as possible. For each bylaw, there will be 3 calls for speakers. Given the high turnout today, there will be a 2-minute time limit for each speaker during the first call and a 1-minute time limit for the second and third calls. If you have already spoken during the first call, we ask that you refrain from speaking again until everyone has had at least one opportunity to speak. After you have spoken, we ask that you follow staff direction and return to your seat or exit the council chambers to the atrium if you do not have a seat. I will now ask Amanda Weeks, Corporate Officer, to introduce the first item on the agenda, Bylaw 1492.8. Ms. Weeks.
Thank you. So the first item, as you noted, is Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 1492.8. This proposes to change the future land use map designation from the community use and tourist commercial designations to the multi-unit residential designation at the property located at 1225 Franklin Skull Road, legally described as Lot B, District Lot 125, and Block 564, Nanus District Plan EPP 54585. As well, in general terms, the purpose of the proposed amendment to the OCP is to adjust the existing development permit areas to encompass the full extent of the subject property at 1225 Franklin Skull Road. As of 9 a.m. on Monday, November 18th, approximately 178 total submissions, including one petition, were received in response to this application, with 130 individual signatories clearly in opposition and 37 clearly in support, and two did not specify clearly whether in support or opposition. Duplicate or multiple submissions from the same individual are counted only once, either in favor or opposition.
Thank you, Mrs. Weeks. So now we can get down to business here, folks. And I'm assuming you're not all here for the Christmas event, the cookies and carols that we have. That's a couple weeks away, but if you are, we'll try and find some cookies in short order if you'd really like some. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for taking part of this public process. And we'll get going right away. We have a few people here, so I'm not sure how many is going to speak, but we'll get it going right away here. So anyone who considers their interest in the property to be affected by the proposed bylaw to come forward to the microphone and give their name and civic address for the record, the Plan Parksville Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 1492.8. I'll ask for your name and civic address, and I will invite anyone to come to the microphone now. And when you get to the microphone, you see that the light is on red on the microphone here. If you reach down to the little arrow there, as Sarah just took care of, it will come on automatically. So carry on. Carry on, sir. Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Tom Roy.
Yeah, it's just through the microphone.
My name is Tom Roy.
Yes, and I'll just explain quickly for those I forgot to mention. One of our counselors is zooming in. Counselor Grenz is zooming in.
Okay.
So it's very careful that you speak directly into the microphone and get up as close to the microphone as you can, because he's hearing from, well, actually, it looks like he's out in front of the city hall right now.
Hi.
But I guess there's no seats left for him, but he's here. So if you speak clearly, that would be appreciated.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship.
Start again, sir.
Okay. So I just want to,
Tom Roy.
Tom Roy, and my address is 111 Wallace Street.
Thank you.
I am the president of the Parksville Alliance Housing Society. And we are today trying to represent this project for workforce non-market housing that is to be built on city-owned land. We have completed all the studies required by the city planners and engineers, and no issues have been presented. We have received pre-development funding from BC Housing, so they also feel that this is a viable project. Most of the concerns that we have heard from people who are opposed to this project revolve around transportation. I would like to confirm that 80% of eligible tenants can make over $80,000 per year and will likely own their own vehicle. The building includes underground parking for tenants in our existing also, I would like to point out, in our existing low-income family housing complex, which is on Morrison Street, 18 of the 20 families have a vehicle and they have their own parking spot. So that's not really a problem. These new tenants of ours are already residents of Parksville, but are living in accommodations that cost well over 50% of their income. BC Housing defines affordable housing as housing that costs no more than 30% of a person's gross income. I believe that there are thousands of residents of Parksville that did not feel they needed to be here well, I don't know, maybe not, to be here today because they heard this council say that there is a need for affordable housing and voted for you in the last election. I want to thank you for your continued support in the efforts of Parksville Alliance Housing Society to provide affordable housing for everyone in our community, from seniors to young families. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you, Tom. Next, please. Good afternoon and welcome. Your name
Good
and
afternoon. My name's Julie Gibbler. I live at 1352 Salt Spring Place in Parksville. And I thank you for your time today. The Parksville Mayor and City Council have already received adequate notice opposing this building proposal. In late July, I provided all of you with a letter expressing my own opposition to this building, including the many reasons for my opinion. This letter was also accompanied by a petition with over 120 signatures and addresses of neighboring Parksville citizens who share my opposition and wanted their voices heard. Many of them are here today, and we are still in strong opposition to this proposal because it's in the wrong location and it will not meet the needs of the people who will be occupying it. The citizens who most need better city planning for their unique housing needs. Specifically, there are many social and safety issues that must be seriously considered and successfully addressed in order to better meet the needs of the current Parksville housing crisis. This location is not suitable for the project that's proposed. There are no essential services and amenities nearby this location for the residents who would occupy this building. Parksville City Center is almost 4 kilometers away. There are no nearby grocery stores, pharmacies, banks, healthcare services, or gas stations. So occupants that do not have a car will be having to rely on walking, biking, or using public transportation to get to town. At the present, there are no safely designated sidewalks and bike trails into Parksville along Island Highway East into Parksville until beyond the Orange Bridge at Englishman River. Nor is there a current official city plan to rectify this at this time. This poses a significant safety issue for those without a car living in this location. Thank you.
thanks, Julie. Next, please.
Maybe afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Michael Sherbo, 1332 Salt Spring Place, Parksville, BC.
Sorry, Mike, if you can just repeat your name for it.
Sorry, Michael Sherbo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, councillors, for your time to speak here today. We'd like to say that we are collectively support non-market housing. Our objection to this project is basically the cliche in real estate: location, location, location. Our objection, threefold. From the perspective of the people living in the building, our view is that it's located miles from any of the services, so you will need a car. Groceries, banks, healthcare, including pharmacies. Further, it's a high traffic area. In fact, it's on a highway. So if you're having families there, the highway is where the kids will be walking. Finally, the location has no sidewalks, making walking dangerous, especially for children. From the Lions Club perspective, I did hear your comments. So from the Lions Club perspective, my understanding is it wasn't their first location, their first choice of a location. And from what I've researched, all their other projects are within the city limits and close to services. Finally, from the prospect of the city council or city of Parksville, the location requires a zoning change as well as several variances. We would say to you that this location under the current zoning and in its location could be put to medical services building, which would give us all an opportunity to get a primary care provider, which thousands of Parksvillians do not have. So for all these reasons, we believe the project, while needed, is located in an area or in a location that will make it be a thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Next, please.
I'm Jim McKinley and I live at 1340 Salt Spring Place. The Parksville OCP was approved in 2013 and has been amended 5 times since, but a full review and update has never been completed. Provincial regulations require that the OCP and zoning bylaw be updated every 5 years. Successive councils have failed to fulfill this requirement. Instead, spot zoning through amendments has become the preferred technique for modifying them to meet developer requests. Between January of 2022 and June of 2024, council has approved 16 different rezoning requests that fell outside of the OCP. That's an average of one request every 2 months. The current planning guidelines have to be amended that frequently. Does it not seem obvious that the guidelines need to be rewritten? Chapter 5 of the OCP states that lands for multi-unit residential use are to be located near transit routes, public amenities and services, and commercial or mixed-use areas. This location certainly does not meet this requirement. Chapter 10 of the OCP outlines 7 criteria to be used by council in considering any request for amending the OCP. Of those 7 criteria, only 2 could receive a positive response regarding this proposal. Yes, there is a need for affordable housing in the city, and yes, there is a high level of community support for the Lions Housing Society initiative to provide affordable housing, but not at this location. That point was made loud and clear at the public information session held on July 24th, which was reported to the Planning Department's report to Council on October 21st. Others have spoken about this project, and we support the need for the project, but we want it to be in a good location. A good project in a poor location easily becomes a poor project. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, staff, gallery. My name is Zoe Kirk and I live at 205 Jensen Avenue East. I am an example of a Parksville Lions Housing Society tenant. I wouldn't be able to live here without the support and subsidized housing. Now, I've heard lots about the transit issues and I've heard lots about the recreation area, but I disagree. I don't own a car.
Zoe, if you could face the microphone.
I don't own a car, so I have to cycle or take transit everywhere. I'm out there all the time by transit. I go both to Nanaimo, I stop at Serious Coffee, I'm a quilter, I'm at Sweet Pea Quilting. There to me is no barriers for transit. And in fact, if the unit is built, then it will also help to push forward for more of those things like sidewalks and green space areas. That location is perfect for recreating. If you were in anywhere else in Canada and said that you could be within a kilometer of a world-renowned beach to take your children or to recreate in the RDN trails or out at Top Bridge. Yes, location is never perfect. We've all been around long enough to know always somebody is going to have a complaint. But I do support Parksville Lions Housing Society because they do manage. They manage the tenants, the building envelope, and they're here for the long term. They're not building something and leaving. Our rents stay here. All of their management dollars stay here. And then it provides a place for people that need a home, that want to live and work here, but can't afford housing to at least get a start. So I'm definitely in favor of this proposal.
Thanks, Zoe. Next, please.
My name is Anne-Marie Lafleur, and I live at 363 Morrison in Parksville. Let me start by saying that I sympathize with City Council as they wrestle with this decision, and I also want to show my appreciation for the various groups that have mobilized over this, both in support and in opposition to this project. This kind of healthy debate is important in a democracy. I want to add my vote to an amendment of the official community plan and zoning bylaw to permit this project to proceed. I agree with those who are opposed to the project in that the location is not ideal. And yes, it's not close to services and facilities. But for many people, that is not important. Look at all the people who live in Whiskey Creek. Not to slam Whiskey Creek, but it is isolated. But who is to say that there will never be services and facilities close to this housing project as our community is changing rapidly? There's also the argument about the benefits of a mixed community, residential buildings in an industrial area and how it can make for a safer community. When there are people around at night and on weekend in an industrial area, it provides security and residents have a vested interest in a safe neighborhood. The important factors are that the land is available, the Alliance Housing Society is willing to take this on, the money is available, and the need is great. I do not agree with the argument that it is poor planning to amend the OCP and zoning bylaws, as those should be living documents that are reviewed and amended as needed to meet the changing needs of our community. There has been a lot of construction of new housing in Parksville lately, but most of it has been housing on the high end of the rental scale, and many cannot afford those high rents, even with 1 or 2 roommates. This is about compromise, and I support the amendment of the official community plan and zoning bylaw to get this project going. We need affordable housing now. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne Marie.
Timing, huh?
Good timing. Next.
Hi, my name is Scott Harrison, number 215-440 Schley Place, Qualicum Beach. I just want to speak to the facts about some of the concerns I've read in the public about this project. One was about water use. The water use, if folks are interested, you can send me an email. I'm not bound by this public hearing because I'm on a different council, but there's provincial groundwater well data that I could provide you that shows that this isn't really a limitation in terms of water use. This project isn't going to have an adverse impact in terms of that particular piece of infrastructure. In terms of public transportation, transit routes can be amended at any time. So the RDN controls public transportation. If there's a need for a bus stop in closer proximity, that can be provided through the RDN. Is actually be quite reasonable given the location. In terms of some of the other issues, I remember when I was door knocking at Kiwanis Village in Qualicum Beach, which is a much older and quite frankly lower income project than this, and every single house had at least 1 car. Might just be Qualicum Beach, but I think it's pretty common that in this area, even in below market housing, you will find people have a beater, but they have a car. In terms though, I think of first principles, I really think the quality of life in our region is intricately bound to work that's being provided by people who don't get paid very much for what they do. And the cost of rent in the market today, when you're just looking for a place to rent, if you go on Craigslist, it's insane. It's $1,500 for a 1-bedroom, maybe $1,300 in some of the smaller units, but it's quite expensive. As such, I strongly urge you to support this project. If this was being done in my community, I'd be supporting it. But my council has decided not to advance anything this term, which to our shame. But I think at the end of the day, this is about helping people in your community to ensure that the quality of life that you enjoy in terms of small businesses being able to be open more than 5 or 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, which happens a lot in Qualicum Beach. This will contribute to the greater good. And while there are some reasonable concerns that have been raised, I do think they can be addressed within the context of still approving this project. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Next, please.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Mitchell and I live at 574 Duggan Lane. I am here just to say that I totally support the concept of this project. It's well known, the need is great. What I am concerned about and cannot support is a one-off amendment to the OCP for Parksville. The gentleman 5 speakers before me was eloquent in stating the issues. But again, I really encourage the council to look at recreating and reconsidering the OCP and the total needs on a projected basis for what our community needs. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Next, please.
Thank you, Council. My name is Neil Rowley. My address is 1348 Salt Spring Place in Parksville. I don't think anyone really is objecting to any principle of affordable housing. It's a very complex issue that needs to be addressed. This is, however, a very strong objection to the location and the amendment process. Spoken to earlier by other people and addressed to council. There is a myriad of issues in placing this housing project in this location being presented to council. Schools, resources, and services has been mentioned before. Rather than fitting any updated community plan, the city planner's report, January the 12th, merely provides questionable, misleading narrative on its location that suits the end goal requirement to get it passed. More importantly, the city includes a huge caveat with far-reaching implications. And I quote, "An incremental OCP amendment application may inform future comprehensive OCP review and update as it pertains to the subject lands." If passed, the council opens the use of this subsidized housing project as a frame of understanding for all future development from Highway 19 Gateway to the resort area and up to the Orange Bridge at Englishman River. Therefore, updating the OCP as well as a transportation plan should be a priority due to the ramifications. It would also seem prudent long-term municipal governments and provide clarity on the council's intentions. Is affordable housing not worth the time of prudent planning and the investment of some of the city's capital resources? Providing this should be completed by December 21st,
Thank you, Neil.
2025. Thank you.
If you have more, you can come back on the second
I
round.
will. I have notes and I will leave them too.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good afternoon, Barry Tuck from 1335 Parkhurst Place.
This is Barry.
Barry,
you.
Barrytuck.
Thank you.
I appreciate very much the city of Parksville addressing low-income housing in general, and I think overall doing a good job. I sincerely have gratitude towards the Lion Society, Housing Society for addressing an obvious need in our community and many others. Lots of different amendment discussions have been discussed here, but what I haven't heard anything of is safety of the highway. There is a very busy highway that people exit from at high rates of speed, even though the speed limit says don't do that. Of course, that's one of the RCMP's hot spots for catching people coming off. Northwest Bay Road, when it was extended for our development, put up a four-way stop. I can tell you by many a time walking our pets and just walking in general that people are not using that as a four-way stop. So it's nice to say that, yes, bus lines can be changed. It can be nice to say that lights can be changed, et cetera, but that should be done before something is approved. Because at this point, if you are having children, cars or not, there is no place for them to play. So they're going to be on that sidewalk. They're going to be on that road. They're going to be crossing those four-way stops and the lights. And I'm concerned about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Next, please.
Leanne Bader, 1326 Parkhurst. I would just like it noted for the record today that my property is directly behind where the proposed development would be. And while I would welcome new neighbors to the area, I have to speak against this today because I fear for all of the concerns everyone has brought up so far, but also because we are directly behind it and the way our home was designed and built in that neighborhood. We're going to lose our privacy. The 4 stories, they will look directly into our bedroom, living room, kitchen. And for those reasons, as well as everything else that's been spoken on today, I just can't support the housing in that location, though I would support it if it didn't. As I've said, thank you.
Thanks, Leanne. Next, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Councilors. My name is Grant Foster. I live at 1329 Parkhurst Place.
That's
Just-
Graham or Grant?
Grant,
Thank you.
just across the street from Leanne, in fact. I'm opposed to the amendment for the bylaw on zoning development. And for all the reasons that have been mentioned so far, the impact on potential tenants of the building, but also looking at it from the perspective of those who live in the Parkhurst subdivision. What we're looking at, just for context, is that my house looks directly toward the property in question. And it's a small lot that you're putting a fairly large building on. In fact, the footprint for this building, it really takes up all the space available according to the bylaws under the proposed amendment. The fact is that that small footprint for the building has caused the architect to have to build upwards, putting the parking below on ground level and then the 3 residential floors above. The end result of that is that it has boosted the height of that building to close to 15 meters. And that means that the sight lines directly from that building, from the windows and balconies on that building, are looking directly into the Parker subdivision. So that means the folks who are living on Parker's Place, whose rear of their homes faces the building. What that means for them is, as Leanne pointed out, a loss of privacy. The sight lines are going to be right into their patios, their living rooms, their bedrooms, just because of the way those houses were oriented. Now, the builders did.
Thank you,
Okay,
Grant.
I'll come back.
Sure, we'll be here. Next, please.
I'm back again. My name's Julie Gibler. I live at
Sorry, for first-time speakers only. Yeah, we have to make sure we have all first-time speakers
Okay.
first, and then I'll call for
Okay, I'll come
second-time
back.
speakers.
Okay, thanks.
Thought I recognized you. Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Garland, 258 Hickey Avenue in Parksville. And just want to put it into context, obviously make sure we understand. We like Fraser Crane, we are listening. And we've heard some of the issues that residents have expressed already. Just to put into context though, there are 550 people, homes that live in that immediate area. So we can just kind of frame it a wee bit. The location, we're very grateful to the city. That was the land that was available. Ironically, as it turns out, the water and sewer, which the council had an opportunity of getting some feedback from a consultant last month, shows that actually we can accommodate 100 additional units, residents in this particular area of the city, which means that there's no additional cost to taxpayers other than the usual just getting access to water and sewer for that location. So we're adding 36 out of a basically surplus of 100 without requiring any further basically infrastructure upgrades. I took the time today as well. I did find out there are actually children living in that area already. And I also was able to confirm with Qualicum School District that there is a school bus that actually passes that particular point. Also, BC Transit has advised that there is a bus stop at that location as well. Security concerns that have been raised. One of the things I do on the side, I do a little bit of work with the RCMP through crime prevention, through environmental design. This will actually make the neighborhood safer as well by having another set of eyes for the museum next door, as well for the commercial and local residents. I'll be glad to come back if there's other questions that are raised, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Michael. Next, please.
I've never talked to the council before, so this is kind of unnerving.
Okay, don't.
Louise Sosa. I live in Qualicum at 850 Flamingo, but I also have a rental place in Parksville. One of the things I've a long over 30-year resident, and wherever anybody tries to put any housing in, there's always so many people that are not in my backyard. And we really need to help these people. People have voiced concerns about being close to the highway. Well, there happens to be 2 schools that are actually located right on that highway. So a fence and the kids do stay on the other side. Plus there's other kids in that area. I've noticed since the big influx of people in the last 5 years to our community that the prices for rentals have skyrocketed. And this is really making it impossible for people to have affordable housing. Maybe it's not the perfect location, but wouldn't it be great if we did this one and then another one that was the perfect location? I really think, being Canadian, we need to help each other out, and this is helping people. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Elise. Next, first time speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Tom Howdo. I live at 1695 Brentwood Street. This is a new experience for me. I've never addressed a council like this. I'm strongly opposed to this amendment. I live in the area. I see what goes on in the area. When I look at this, I can't think of a worse location to have a residential complex surrounded by 3 roads, busy roads, no services, difficulty getting into town, services such as medical, grocery. We're talking an intended population of everybody from retired to young families living in this building. Childcare. How can old people, like retired, very, very old people, you're saying elderly, use public transportation? Access services. The other thing that really bothers me is it seems that this site is chosen just for expediency's sake. Right in the paper, it says, required too much infrastructure for the society's budget to use another site. So really, this site has really been chosen just because sewer and water is available at low cost. Low cost does not make a successful project. A successful project is one that meets the needs of the people who are going to be living in this building. And I don't think this site will meet the needs of those people at all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Don. Next, first time speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Spish Legowski. I live at 1332 Parkhurst Place, and I've lived there since the beginning of this year. I bought the property knowing that not knowing there was going to be this potential building coming up. But apart from that, I do agree there should be plenty of these rooms around, but this is not the right place. This intersection there on Main Highway is number 5 in the local area of high accident traffic. That is a major concern now. What's it going to be like with another 20, 30 people coming in and out on a daily basis? There'll be a lot more traffic. There'll be noise pollution, light pollution. You're cutting down trees. I don't mind the trees, but are you going to put them back? I should be looking, or they'll be looking straight over our house. We live next door to one of our neighbors who was on earlier. The idea is good, but it's just the wrong place. Wrong place for a good idea, but put it somewhere where people can get at it, not out where we are. They're talking about just now, there's plenty of water, but then you're going to be developing the Heritage Center. You know, what are you going to do there? It's the wrong place, and that's all there is to it. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, first time speaker, please.
Hello, my name's Penny Rowley. I have 1348 Salt Spring Place. There was just an interesting note made that there is plenty of water. Every year we have water restrictions, and I'm just interested there'll be no more water restrictions, as there is plenty of water available for all the development that's going on down the highway. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Penny. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Shirley Sterlinger, and I live at 212 Lodgepole Drive. And I'd like to address the issue of sightlines. my neighborhood is largely patio homes, one story, etc. However, in behind me, I have a two-story house whose kitchen looks directly into my yard and into my kitchen and family room. It bothers me not one iota. The fact that people can look at me. If they want to look at me, fine. I mean, I'm an old lady. I have nothing of interest to look at.
Thank you, Shirley. Next first-time speaker, please. Could I have the next first-time speaker? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Serrar. I live at 1332 Salt Spring Place. I was watching the water report on the Zoom TV, and I have a question about it. I thought they recommended a reservoir update. Is that correct?
We can't answer questions at this time, Jeanette. It's just, we're just listening to you at this point. You don't have to listen to us.
I thought they had recommended that. Also, when we're talking about water, available water, it all depends on if we have drought or not. Filling our reservoirs, we all know we've had a lot of drought. It seems to be, 3 years ago, it was horrific, and it's continued to be. Also, I'd like to mention the traffic going over the Orange Bridge. When you're coming into town, like I did today to this meeting, it was bumper to bumper. We had road construction, I know, but normally when I come in, there's unbelievable traffic at certain hours because there is no infrastructure to support the bottleneck at the Orange Bridge. So you're developing a lot before the Orange Bridge. And I did go to the transportation meeting and nothing had been addressed from the Orange Bridge over. And I also understand there is no proposed development to the Orange Bridge for another 10 years because it's not owned by Parksville. I'm not sure if my points are perfect, but I have listened to the mayor and had conversations with him about what to do. So I got a lot more involved, went to a lot more meetings. As you can tell by my voice, I'm probably not a good speaker, but I'm doing my best. So I do not support the location of this project.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Hi, Sean Beatty, 232 Dunbar Way. Real simple, wrong location. Good idea. Next.
Thank you for your brevity. Appreciated. Next.
My name is Pat Crompton and I live at 1242 Saturna Drive. And I agree that it's a wonderful idea. We need these developments, but I am totally against it. I'm very concerned. It's been mentioned a little bit, but I'm very concerned about the safety of any children who might be living there. As has been said, it's a very busy area. People speed along that Northwest Bay Road and coming out of Craig Bay, turning right, you don't want to get up a lot of speed. You know you're going to stop up there. It's frequent to have somebody charging up the back of you, pushing you to try and go faster. That is, and if there's nobody in front to slow you down, there's a lot of traffic that speeds around there. Where are children going to play? There's nowhere for them that is safe. Highway 19A is extremely busy. It's a dangerous junction anyway, and we're going to be adding a lot more traffic to it. So on the principle of location, it is just not the right place. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Pat. Any more first-time speakers? One's on the way. Thank you.
Hello, Council, and I'm the other half. That was Pat Crompton. I'm Peter Crompton, 1242 Saturna. One thing I haven't heard mentioned today, and I'm not certain of my accuracy on this, but my understanding is that from that development down to the beach, there is a trail and the public use it if they know about it. I'm certain that children who want to do something in that development will want to go down that trail. And that wouldn't be a problem if it was a public trail. But my understanding is that that trail belongs to the residents of Craig Bay. It's part of our strata. And we, if that is correct, will be held responsible for anything that goes wrong. I think that's something that needs to be taken into account. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Any other first-time speakers, please? Okay, thank you. I can ask for if there's any other first-time speakers, if you could line up in here, right beside where the stairs are, and that way I can see you before going to the next stage. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Yes, go ahead, sir.
My name's Philip Howell, 1409 Crofton Place in Parksville. I think this is a good project, but it's definitely in the wrong place. And one thing I don't think has been mentioned enough is if there's children and families here, where do they play? They've already talked about 19A, Northwest Bay Road, there's a lot of traffic. But going down that path down to the beach, there's also a big piece of open property there, and it's a heritage land. It's owned by the provincial government. There's to be no playing, running of dogs loose, no park benches, no flying of kites on that property. Who's going to police that? There's no parking down there too to have access. That's all Craig Bay property. There's no parking. So who's going to police that in the parking? People want to park down there, play on that land. That heritage land is there by the government. It's an Indigenous burial site. And Craig Bay, we are very cognizant of that fact. We don't play on that. Who's going to police this, and where are the children going to play? They're going to play down in the water, young children playing by the water, unattended? It's a concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Albert.
Standing. Oh, look at that. There it is. My name is Albert Ruel. I live at 702 Ironwood Avenue in Parksville. I guess you might have guessed I'm one of those people who don't have a car. I want to drive, and I'm hoping that Elon Musk will fix that. But at any rate, I just want to say that I think minding our own business might be a good place to start. I will always get to where I want to be, not because it's convenient or accessible or all that feasible. I will always get to where I want to be because I want to. I think this housing complex, we've talked about traffic. Good heavens, nobody gets run over because it's busy. They get run over because they're not paying attention. So a busy street is not a dangerous street unless you're sleepwalking. So the project is a good project. It's necessary. We need to have it. And please, folks will get to work if they've got a job. They'll get their kids to school if they've got school-age kids. They will get to a park and they will get to places to play, and they will be safe. You stay safe, and the rest of us will keep ourselves safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Albert, for your perspective. Thank you. Next first-time speaker, please. Good afternoon.
It's Blaine Sebos, 659 Morrison in Parksville. I'm here on behalf of the Parksville Qualicum Beach Tourism Association. We were one of the organizations that provided a written support for this project. And we've actually been working with the Lion Society to help them on this project, and have had numerous conversations about how we might be able to support it. I think one of the things that needs to be addressed is that this is a workforce housing project, and that's how it's being positioned. And the reason for it is that we have a large workforce that is right next door on Resort Drive, not only on Resort Drive, but in the industrial area. So I don't know what the census says, how many people are actually working in that area, but I'm guessing that there's probably 1,000 people that work in that general vicinity that could really, and there could be in almost every resort in that area, every business is short-staffed. So having this opportunity to live and work right by where their place of work is, I think it's very important. So that's a positive on the location, because it would support people who could probably walk or ride their bike without facing much traffic in that area. But it's also on major transportation transit routes, as been pointed out. So anybody that wants to come into town, they can come into town and do their groceries and come back out. And we didn't include this in our letter, and it depends on what people's perspectives are on ride hailing, but I read something that Uber is going to be in our community fairly soon in 2025, if we can get enough drivers. So there's lots, as the fellow before me said, there's this. Long story short, we're in support of this project. Thank you.
Thanks, Blaine. Next, first time speaker, please.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
My name is Connie Charlton. I live at 1352 Salt Spring here in Parksville. I just want to address the safety from my viewpoint. From Franklin Gulls Road, I walk a lot to town. I've also met many people that have these scooters that are older, and I also ride a bike. And what I'm finding is I feel very unsafe on my bike because there are no lanes. And if there is a lane on the side, you go in over here and it ends abruptly in the middle of the street. So I would just like to say this is the wrong position. I'm a pediatric nurse and I've seen a lot of damage in my life, and I don't want someone to get killed there, whether they're old or young. We don't have any walking spaces or bike spaces from the Orange Bridge to Franklin Gulls Road. And that's all I want to say is I don't think it's appropriate for the safety reason. And I'd like you to fix some places where we can ride the bike and walk and feel safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Connie. Any other first time speakers?
Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Mormon. I live at 808 Mariner Way in Parksville. I just want to indicate that I support the position taken by the Parksville, what is it called here? The Parksville Association of Residents and Concerned Citizens, also known as PARC. They've posted a notice in the paper opposing this bylaw amendment for various reasons, and I just like to say that I support their concerns, and just feel that this project is being built in the wrong spot. I do support community housing and or affordable housing, but I think this one is being built in the wrong location. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name's Heather Ranson. I live at 1025 Forgotten Drive. Over the past 2 years, this council has made some tough decisions, and you've done so to make this city a better place for all of us to live. Two that come to mind are the rezoning that you denied for 1865 Greek Road, and giving over the city property on Shelley Road to Nature Trust, selling it to Nature Trust in order to protect the river. And
Heather, if we can speak to the zoning amendments and the.
yeah, I'm getting
thank
there.
you.
Okay, yeah. What I think you're trying to do with this project is, with this community asset, is to support affordable housing in Parksville, and I commend you for that. We need that. But I agree that this is the wrong location for that. And my concern is that this location, the density in this location is far away from the services that we already have in Parksville. And as a result, we're going to see additional services popping up to support any housing you put in there, which really means you're building a second downtown for Parksville. And so I guess I have a question for you, which I know is not allowed, so please don't answer this. But my question is this your vision for Parksville? Is this what you want? This building's going to be here for the next 50 to 70 years. Is this the entrance you want to Parksville? Is this how you want your visitors greeted? And do you want the south end of Parksville developed so that we really become the north end of Nanaimo and we're a bedroom community for workers in Nanaimo? These are my fears. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thanks, Heather. Any other first-time speakers? Going once. Any other first-time speakers, please? Any other first-time speakers? Okay, let's take any second-time speakers to the microphone, please. Are there any second-time speakers?
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh,
And
step out of line?
go ahead, sir. Michael, Michael, after this gentleman.
Anybody moving?
Yeah. Okay. He beat you, Michael. He's faster. Thank you. Go ahead.
So would you like me to
Introduce
restate
yourself
everything
Yes,
again?
please.
Okay, my name is Grant Foster. I live at 1329 Parkhurst Place. And when I was up here the first time, I was trying to explain the issue around sightlines. And the point that I was attempting to get to was the loss of privacy for many of the homes in the Parkhurst subdivision. And my concern around that has to do with that loss of privacy reflects on market value and eventually on assessed value. And I know that's one of the things you must take into consideration when you're looking at these sorts of developments. So I know in one case, a neighbor, for example, had a home for sale. He had a number of people come in and look at the home. I know one person felt that the home was just beautiful, loved it, but then discovered, of course, the possibility for this building going up directly behind and lost interest. And I'm afraid that's the direction we may be going in here. And so was that 2 minutes?
No, actually, you remember the rules at the second time you get 1 minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can come back for another 1 minute at your third sign.
Okay, I give up. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Michael, you have 1 minute.
I do.
And please introduce yourself, even though I know.
And 2 minutes is short. So anyway, Michael Sherbo. So all I say to everyone here, I urge you, walk from that location to the Orange Bridge and ask yourself, would you want your grandchildren, your children walking that? Because I've done it twice in preparation of this, and I can assure you, I wouldn't want anybody walking it. So that's my first thing. Second thing, to two of the comments. One, 80% of the building will have cars. That means 20% doesn't. That means 8 homes are going to be required to walk. 8 homes is too many, in my opinion. Finally, with regard to water, it said that there's 500 more or 100 more homes it's okay for the water supply. Well, guess what? There's 3 6-story buildings going up in the lot next door. Guess what? Your 100 homes is about to go real quick and you're not going to have the water. Thank you.
No applause. Thank you. No. You've been really good to now. Don't break your record. Come on. Go on. You're better than that. Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Julie Gibler. I'm up here talking for the second time. With regard to the children, the play area that doesn't exist will cause children to need to play somewhere, which is likely to be in the museum center. That green space is not a viable space for children to play. Also, the teens that would be leaving there also, where are they going to gather and have their time together? We have acknowledged there's going to be an increase in traffic in this area, and we're worried about public safety. Additionally, there's parking concerns with a lack of parking or inadequate parking with less than one parking space per household on a half an acre property. Parking is going to be foreseeably challenging, and parking in the Heritage Mall, where that parking area is designated for business owners to have customers come. This will not be an adequate place for people to park. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
This is so much fun. Sean Beatty, 232 Dunbar Way. So I was recently in a focus group for Downtown Business Association. We talked about the brand of Parksville, walkable Parksville. So maybe we should either stick to that brand and create access for people or recreate the brand of this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim McKinley, round two. One issue that's not been talked about is the fact that Bill 44 requires all municipalities to put together a 20-year housing needs assessment, update their OCP and zoning bylaw, and do this by the end of December next year. The current OCP has a vision for Parksville that's 10 years out. It was written in 2013. That means 2023. You have no vision at this point in time, it appears. A proper OCP is supposed to provide guidance to development requests. Development requests are not supposed to provide guidance to the OCP. So making these continuing amendments while the province is asking you for taking a new approach does not look like responsible governance to me. It would be prudent for council to defer all requests for projects requiring an amendment such as this one and focus on redoing the OCP and getting that in order. It would also be prudent for council to consider working with the Lions Housing Society to find a better location for this necessary project. It's time to get things back under control, including this request and any other non-conforming ones. With 2 years left in your current mandate, it's time to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yo, hey. Come on. Michael.
Okay, Mike Garland, 258 Hickey Avenue. Couple of things, privacy. There'll only be basically 2 windows facing the ocean on that side to the houses, and there will be trees there as well. Also, for those that may not have wheels, we took an idea from Berwick. You may have heard of that place in Parksville. They have a pool vehicle. We're going to be offering that pool vehicle from an environmental standpoint so that people don't have to walk along the highway. Just putting it out there as one of the things. Playground. We have actually, thanks to the Tourism Association, they've reached out to a service club who are willing to look at financing a playground area for the local residents, and not just for this project, for all of the resident areas. And for those that are worried about traffic, remember, the people that will be living there likely will be working on Resort Drive. They'll be working in the industrial park. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Next, second time speaker. Yeah.
Well, Neil Rowley, second time round.
I know.
The Franklin's Goal option is singularly a cost solution option for the Lions. This housing project and occupants are going to be controlled by BC Housing Corporation. We have no guarantees that the people in those homes are going to retain, stay, or work in the local area. How can this be policed? As far as I see, there are no guarantees on that issue. If approved, the current format will be obliged to providing future resources to a project which is 5 kilometers from the downtown core. The logic would be to build the project close to existing resources versus then the long-term eventual cost of resource to project that this proposal will eventually bring. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, second speaker. Second time. Hello, Jeanette.
Hopefully I won't be so nervous this time. I ride and walk a lot from Craig Bay onto the highway, through the development that's going to be done where the 6 buildings are and the 1225 Franklin Gull. It's very dangerous. Every day I feel very unsafe when I even have to duck out onto the highway to go into Rath Trevor. I went to the transportation meeting, as I stated earlier, and the gentleman that was leading the meeting said there is no sidewalk development plan for the infrastructure from the Orange Bridge to this development or even near my place, Craig Bay. I'm at a loss why that is not being addressed, and so was he, the actual guy that was making this transportation plan. He had no idea any of this development was happening. He didn't even know where I was pointing to. So why are you not putting the sidewalks in before you develop something? It seems crazy.
Thanks, Jeanette.
Hi, it's Pat Crompton. I've just been intrigued by the comments that people who live there will work in Resort Drive and work in the industrial park and everything. We moved here from Victoria 8 years ago, and we witnessed the building of Uptown. And it was built with the whole idea was it would be a community in itself. There's shops, there's everything there. And the people who lived there would work there. So it's going to save all this traffic going in. It didn't work. The people who live there do not necessarily work there. Maybe a few do, but a whole lot don't. And the traffic increased incredibly after that project went in. So I refute that idea that whoever lives there is going to work in their location.
Thanks, Pat. Any other second-time speakers?
Bill Howell, 1409 Crofton Place. I was just interested in the comment from the Lions Club member, I think, about getting a playground for the residents. I was just wondering where in the area where that would be. I know they were talking from the visitor center. Is that next to the visitor center? East of that, between 19A and Northwest Bay Road? That sounds safe to me. Not?
Thank you. Any other second-time speakers? I think I see someone way in the back. Yes, I see it. You're next, sir.
Redo our address and name.
Yes, if you would, please.
Barry Tuck, 1335 Parkhurst.
Thank you.
I just have a perspective of build it and they will come. I don't think that's relevant in this place. There's so many what ifs. There's so many, well, we'll build a parking lot. Well, we'll put sidewalks in. Well, we'll put a playground. I still have grandkids that come to me twice a week and I don't know where they'd put that playground. So everything seems to be, let's get this done on short order because this is what we can afford, but there's nothing that can support it. So do the support first and then reconsider it. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Any other second-time speakers? Any other second-time speakers? Here you go. There. That's why I try to talk slowly.
Leanne Bader, 1326 Parkhurst Place. I just wanted to bring up the potential for the loss of trees on the lot 1225. Knowing that it's going to be a building that goes right to kind of the boundaries that allows, I think most of the trees are going to have to come down, and saving a few may or may not work. I know we have fire restrictions that allow us what we can plant on our property. I assume it would be the same. So just to keep in mind the entrance to Parksville and losing a little more of that green space because of all the other developments going on, it's kind of. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne. And I'll just call out one more time for any second-time speakers. You may. I'll allow you 2 minutes.
Hi, my name's Linda Ray. I live at 1302 Parkhurst Place. I live at one end of that stop sign at Northwest Bay, and my neighbor Leanne lives at the other end of the stop sign. Let me tell you, it's not pleasant sitting outside in the summertime. Everybody coming from the News Bay is tired of following those slow cars. They turn left. The guy that's fast wants to go straight, so they speed from one stop sign to the next stop sign, barely stop there, and turn left and speed to the other stop sign on the highway so they can go right. I've almost been hit twice, turning left from Parksville to go to my house. People don't stop at that stop sign at the end of Northwest Bay. They just go like this. I slow down because I know they're coming, so they presume that I'm going to turn right. I don't have a right signal on. I'm going straight because that's where I live. It's ridiculous. I can hear the screeching signs of the people turning left to go to Craig Bay. They come to that yield sign and they have no chance at all to do anything. They put their foot on that accelerator and speed down Craig Bay like it was a zone. We have a speed zone between Northwest Bay. It's ridiculous. They have to slow down. I'm almost to the point of asking if you'd put a speed bump in there because it's ridiculous the amount of screeching I hear going on in my neighborhood.
Thanks, Linda. Any other second-time speakers? Going once, going twice. Okay, we're into third-time speakers now. Any third-time speakers? Going once. Just, it's okay, Michael, come up, yeah. Yeah, I was unclear as well. I think it was just more of a traffic. Yeah. Michael, sorry for the delay. You have 1 minute.
No problem. My comment is being here today, one thing that kind of, I don't know, I can't get the words, so I won't waste the time. Anyway, I don't understand how we can be here and there's a statement that the people that are going to live there are going to work at Resort Drive, and then other people say they're not. And I guess what I don't understand is we should all have facts that are true facts that we can know what the answers are, because are they going to live there and work at Resort Drive or are they not? And those are important pieces of information that we don't seem to get. So it would be interesting to understand that stuff before we have these hearings.
Thank you, Michael. That's third time. Anyone for third and final on this? Yeah.
Jim McKinley, final comments. 2 things need to be done. This project should not be defeated. It should be deferred. While it's being deferred, you need to find a better location for it in the city, and the sooner the better. And the OCP has got to be redone. That takes about 1.5 years to do. I worked on it with another municipality. It's got to be done by the end of December. Those 2 things are what this council has to do. Thank you.
Oh, boy. You guys are off the cookie list.
Thank you, Council. You're rolling again. Just to close with the 1 minute available. As residents, we look to the council. You are our voice and representatives of the existing residents. Our safety, our assets, and our lifestyle is in your hands. We appreciate, and everyone said, that we need affordable homes. But there doesn't seem to be enough attention on protecting and listening to existing residents in that existing area. And I think you need to take a step back and take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more speakers? First, second, or third? Okay. Thank you for everyone on that one. I will now ask the corporate officer. Oh, and I'll also comment. Did everybody drop off any documentation they had regarding that first? Because it's closed after this moment. If you haven't, you better get it in now. Thank you. Because when we close it off, it's closed. We can't accept any further. Thank you. Okay. So I'll ask the corporate officer to introduce the second item on the agenda, please, if you would, Ms. Weeks.
So the second item on the agenda is the Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 2000.151. This proposes to rezone from the public institutional P1 zone and the highway commercial CS1 zone to the comprehensive development CD 36 zone that is intended to facilitate an affordable housing rental apartment building at the property located at 1225 Franklin Skull Road, legally described as Lot B, District Lot 125, and Block 564, Nanus District Plan EPP 54585. So as of 9 a.m. Monday, November 18th, approximately 178 total submissions, including one petition, were received in response to this application, with 130 individual signatories clearly in opposition and 37 clearly in support, and two that did not specify clearly either support or opposition. So duplicate or multiple submissions from the same individual are counted only once, either in favor or opposition.
Thank you, Ms. Weeks. So I don't think there's anybody new here, but we'll just remind a few. So this is regarding Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 2000.151. I'll ask for the first time for anyone who considers their interest in property to be affected by the proposed bylaw to come forward to the microphone and give their name and civic address for the record. Since this is a new issue, you will be allowed 2 minutes. And once again, you were really good for the first half. No applause, please. It's intimidating to others, and be fair of your fellow citizens. So no applause would be much appreciated. Thank you. So anybody here for the first time speaker, please. Going once. Anybody here for a first time speaker? Going twice. Anybody here as a first time speaker? Going 3 times. Since there was no first time speakers, there undoubtedly won't be a second or third time speaker, so we'll just carry on. So thank you very much, everyone. So I will just ask that and suggest that any correspondence received by noon on Friday, November 15th has been logged and made available online and in hard copy for public viewing prior to the public hearing. All correspondence, including correspondence received after noon on November 18th, up to the adjournment of this public hearing, has been collected and will now be received and considered by council and will form part of the public record. The correspondence shall be made available for viewing after the public hearing as soon as practical. So, do I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation that the correspondence received regarding the proposed plan Parksville Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 1492.8, and Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 2000.151 be received? Moved by Councillor Wood, seconded by Councillor Beal. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you, Council. I would like now to ask for a motion to terminate the public hearing for Plan Parksville Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 1492.8, and Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 2000.151, moved by Councillor Gower, seconded by Councillor Beal. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries unanimous. Thank you, Council. The public, I'd just like to advise the public that once the public hearing is adjourned, Council cannot obtain any further submissions, just to repeat, or correspondence from the public on the proposed bylaws. I'm asking now for a motion to adjourn from the public hearing. Moved by Councillor Gore, seconded by Councillor Wood. All those in favor? Thank you. That is carries unanimous. Thank you so much. If yes, okay, and then we are going to proceed into our regular council meeting. I'm going to ask for a 5-minute recess before we go into our regular council meeting. Thank you.